Hi guys, it's Jeff. I'm back with another message. I want to keep this one as short as possible, but wanted to bring you some some words of, I'd call them wisdom, but words that truly come from my heart because the past couple days have been a little heavy for me, and I like to follow the moon cycles. As you may or may not know, tonight, or technically tomorrow morning at 12:34 or 1234 a.m. on the 6th of April, is the full moon in Libra, which Libra is all about balancing of the scales. And this particular full moon is supposed to help us reflect. We're supposed to be reflecting on how we want to show up in relationships in this world, right? So the interactions that we have, how we choose to heal the blocks, the wounds, the traumas that might prevent us from making deeper and more authentic relationships with others as well as ourselves. So moon cycles generally, when we're thinking, when we're going through that thought process about how we want to show up in the world, how we're handling our wounds, our traumas, and on all those things, we look back 6 months. That would bring me back to September of 2022, when my awakening process really did start and the upheaval of my life really like ramped up. We'll call it ramped up. It's more like it shot out of a cannon, but it doesn't really matter. There was a lot of trauma, a lot of wounding, a lot of emotional wounding, a lot of bad circumstances. And so what the divine asked me to do is, and this is, part of the reflection of this particular full moon, is to look back 6 months from September, look at the things that I have considered to be wounding, blocks that I've experienced, difficulties and circumstances, things that I thought were unfair, whatever it might be, and think about them a little bit differently. Think about like how I've grown from each of those circumstances. So I did, I looked at how the end of my relationship helped me grow, how it helped me lose my codependencies, that have been long rooted in me. I'm 43 years old and I'm just getting over codependencies and relationships, which I didn't even know I had. But it helped me appreciate who I am. It made me take a step back and realize that I am a good person and I deserve love, and all I was able to do in the past really was to give it out. And it was always unbalanced, and that doesn't make me good and the other person bad. If anything, I was smothering others in being overtly loving, or too loving, and it didn't even give other people an opportunity to give back to me, making them feel insufficient, right? Like they couldn't give me what I was giving them, and rightfully so. So although I was the one over giving, I still have to take a look at that and see what fault falls on me for that, right? And what insecurities were fueling me to overgive in the first place. And it's really the fact that I didn't think I was worth love in the first place. I always felt like I had to overgive because I wasn't worth getting anything. Well, I know differently now. So I've literally built myself up to be a better partner and a better person, which is something that I've written in my intentions in the past. So, for instance, I actually wrote that last July in my intentions, that I want to be the best version of myself for my partner. And it doesn't matter, who that partner was or is, but that's something I asked for. And in order to do that, I needed to love myself. So I was put through circumstances and some pretty crazy stuff that brought me to that realization. So I actually came out a much stronger person, and I'm still going through some very unsavory circumstances, and I've had a lot of betrayals, but I'm looking at each and every one of those occurrences in my life, and I'm determining how it's made me a better person, how it's made me had to think on my feet, how It's made me feel abandoned in some ways, but why did it make me feel abandoned, right? And then how I was, it made me come up with a solution for myself, right? Out of love and appreciation for myself, I had to come up with something to save myself, right? Because nobody else is going to do it. So if I didn't do it, who's going to step up? So I had to find that appreciation for myself. I had to find that love in myself, and I did. So beautiful, right? Yes, absolutely. You know, and forgiveness. I've had to forgive people, places, things for what's occurred, because to hold on to any kind of resentment does me no good. I forgive everybody. I have chosen to forgive everybody in my life. And not every, I don't want to make it sound like everybody in my life has done me wrong. It's not the case. But I think you understand what I'm saying. I've just chosen forgiveness over resentment, and to hold on to that, because to hold on to that is not to grow. To hold on to that is going to make me think in terms of revenge, right? Or it's certainly going to, at least, the very least, it's going to occupy my mind in a way that's negative, right? So it's, you have that looping, like that motherfucker did that, and how can I get them back? And I shouldn't do that for them because they did that to me. I don't really care, right? I don't care. So the way I've chosen to do it is I'll forgive. It doesn't mean I need to re-engage with everybody, right? But I don't hold any resentment in my heart. I just don't. Not going to. It's not going to happen, because that's going to hold me back and further the damage that's been done. So I'm just not going to do that, and you shouldn't either. So take the opportunity with this full moon cycle to reflect on the past 6 months, what you've been through, and if you have, here's my suggestion. So do an exercise. So I usually say take 5 minutes and talk to the divine after this. Take 5 minutes after this video, and in honor of the full moon. You don't even have to really have any belief in it, but it's just it's kind of like a time check, or it's just a cycle that you can or can't follow. You don't have to follow it, but think over the past 6 months. Write down 3 challenging circumstances that you found yourself in, either a betrayal, or it could be anything that you considered to be challenging, big or small or whatever. List just 3 things out, and then below that, list how you've grown from each of those situations. Either from, you've gained knowledge, you've become more resourceful, you've appreciated your own talents, you've come to appreciate more talents. Maybe you even developed new skills because you had to, right? Just out of necessity, whatever it might be. Look back on the past 6 months and try to extract out of difficult situations how you've grown. And that's really what this moon cycle is about. Write it down. If you have a candle, light a candle. And when you're done with it, writing the 3 circumstances and how you've grown from it, you can do whatever you want with the paper, but I choose to burn it, right? Because it's something that it's in the past, right? We can't change it. We've now just acknowledged how we've grown from these circumstances, so we've got that, right? And we've actually had to think through it, and so now we can kind of, in a way, be thankful for what we've gone through, regardless of what it is, and we can look at it through a different lens, and it makes it easier to forgive the people, places, and things involved in that, right? It's a step in the right direction. It's a step towards healing ourselves, right? An appreciation for ourselves, because at the end of the day, that's all we have, right? We need to be able to rely on ourselves. We need to be able to be strong and stand on our own knowing in order to help anybody else, right? Because hurt people. And if we can choose to sit here and be hurt and continue that cycle of hurt with other people, and choose not to see the healing in these circumstances, the healing made available to us. Or we can just continue to throw shit at other people and just, I don't know, that doesn't make me feel any better. I don't know about you, but I don't feel better when I retaliate. I just don't. Maybe that's me. You know, to each their own. And I'm not telling you can't retaliate. Do what you want. But it doesn't solve anything. It just doesn't, you know, like that's not what the divine is asking of us, because we're all having a human experience here, you know, like that's what this is. And at the end of the day, when we're all lying on our deathbeds, you're going to realize how stupid most of what we've gone through, most of the well, you're going to realize how stupid every argument we've ever had is. Everything that has been in your life, every last single event that you've gone through in your life, you're just going to realize how unimportant they truly are. So, you know, it's in these moments like, you know, this full moon where we have the opportunity to go through just a very simple exercise in truly looking at the positive in what we've perceived or experienced as being negative, right? So we don't have to wait until we're lying on our deathbed to make these realizations. We can do them as we go through life. We can grow, we can heal as we go through life. We don't have to wait until we're almost dead to be like, oh, that didn't matter. Why did I do that? Why didn't I just forgive that person? We can do it as we go along. And that's kind of like what I'm trying to get across to you. And it just doesn't do us any good to hold on to resentment. Any kind of dis-ease that we feel in ourselves, so resentment, anger, whatever it may be, dis-ease, it creates disease in our bodies. And that's another thing that we need to come to realize, is that all those things that we hold on to actually do make us sick. And I will say, as difficult as the past 6 months have been for me, I'm physically, I'm probably in the best shape that I've ever been in. At 43 years old, I've lost 30 pounds. I'm eating healthier. I feel better. I'm thinking better. I'm positive. I want to help people. I'm realizing the growth that's come out of pain. And all in all, I love my life, and I don't harbor any resentment. And I've chosen to forgive it, and that's really important. And I hope that I can encourage others to do the same thing. It's really important, and it really does define who we are and how we show up in this world, how we choose to show up in this world. And I'm going to choose to show up in a positive light, and to share some light, to share some love, to share my words, not to be silenced by what I've gone through. Rather I want to process what I've been through. I want to turn it into something that's a little bit more tangible and helpful, maybe for others. So really that's my goal. I don't think I talked about Chiron. It's an asteroid that's particularly active in this full moon cycle, and it's known as the wounded asteroid, or the wounded healer, and I'm a healer by nature. So this rings true for me. So what it does, it invites us to find the healing, not through fixing, but through acceptance. So, you know, I think our natural reaction when something bad happens is, or something bad happens to us that wounds us, we want to fix it, right? But a lot of the times fixing those problems involves manipulation or trying to control something that we can't, right? Because a lot of the times what's caused the wounding is someone else or somebody else's circumstances, and we can't change that, right? We can't change how somebody feels about us. We can't make them like us. We can't make them love us. We can't change what they've done. So it's through acceptance, through this moon cycle. Choose acceptance. Observe it, acknowledge it, observe it, be the observer of what's happened, observed what's made you feel salty about the situation, and then decide on how you want to grow from it, like what you want to take from it. And don't choose retaliation. Choose to transmute it into something positive, because that's how we grow, that's how we heal. It's pretty simple. It really is. Take a bad situation and make it good. That's it, you know, like, and I want to say, like, people are, I feel like people want to get angry, right? So they don't want to hear this message coming from me, but it's true. That's how you heal, is by, it's not repressing anger. It's by observing your anger and transmuting it into something positive one way or another. And we're all capable of doing it. So there really are no excuses for it. And some people experience a lot more than others, but again, it's all in how we recover from these situations that defines who we are and defines how we choose to show up in this world. And how we choose to show up in this world is important. It's a lot more important than you think it is. It is important to lift other people up. It's important to share your light. It's important to share positivity whenever possible. And that's my choice. That's the way I choose to show up in this world, and it's going to be the way I continue to choose to show up in this world, no matter what my circumstances are. So that was it. I just wanted to share a little bit about how to work through this particular moon cycle, just some tips on it. And I just want you to know that no matter what your circumstances are, if you choose to look at things a little bit differently, it gets better. You can make light out of dark, and you can always choose the positive outcome over the negative one. Like, we all have free will. What you choose to do with that free will is really what determines how you show up in this lifetime. And this life is really just a test, you know, of how we choose to show up, right? Because the divine sees everything that's done, but if we choose not to believe that, then we might live life a little bit differently. And I know that the divine sees everything. That's not my motivation to be a better person. The divine helped me find myself first, thankfully. And through that process, I've chosen to show up a little bit differently in this world moving forward, because I haven't always been the most upstanding person. I'm not going to lie. But, you know, once you're aware, you have a choice. And once I was made aware, I had a choice, and I made my choice. And that's it. You know, I'm not claiming to have ever been a saint, or not to have had a past or a history that is undesirable, I would call. But it doesn't matter, because once I was made aware of the truth of who I am and my life's purpose, I chose differently. I chose a different path, and I don't know. So it feels good, and I'm choosing to share it. So in that's it. I just wanted to share how I'm going to be going through this moon cycle. I hope that it brings you some comfort. Maybe it'll help you work through a current problem that you're experiencing. Maybe it'll help you really sum up like what you've been through since September 2022. Maybe you'll see how much you've grown once you actually write it down on paper. It's pretty amazing, and it's amazing to see how resilient we are as human beings. So don't think you're any exception to that. Write it down and prove it to yourself that you've got what it takes to get through any situation, and really nothing can stop you once you put your mind to it. Just, you got to keep moving in the right direction. That's it. So that's it. So I will be back with another guided message as I receive it. And until then, know that somebody cares about what you're going through, what your circumstances are. If you choose to leave a comment, I'd love it. If you'd like to hit like, I'd appreciate that. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd appreciate that even more. I'm just trying to start this channel and really find, the audience that needs me. But nonetheless, that has to start somewhere, right? We all start somewhere. So I'm just doing what I'm guided to do, and I'm trusting that I'm moving in the right direction. Actually, I know I'm moving in the right direction. So with that, I wish you the best. I wish you love, light, and healing, and I'll be back as soon as, again, I have a message for you. But until then, take care, and happy full moon in Libra. Take care.